transmission during this broadcast. So happy.
Dr. Roberto Ceyala that is helping run this, especially helping us open Central and South America. Dr. Ceyala, welcome to the show. How are you doing today?
Thank you, Lance. I'm so happy. I'm really excited to participate with all of you here during this transmission, during this broadcast. So happy because of the preliminary results that we have gotten with our product, and I will be talking about that later. But so happy, thank you.
So before we jump into the results and the testing and the product and why it's gonna, make people drive an extra 1,000,000 miles and everything that else it will do, that was an exaggeration. Dr. Ceyala, let's talk about you for a bit. So you're a doctor. Your doctor degree is in natural medicine. Is that correct? Tell us how that comes about.
Yes, basically I started practicing medicine, alternative medicine, for almost 15 years now. However, my primary, education starts as a mechanical engineer. I got a second industrial engineer degree, and also a master and MBA from the University of Phoenix, Arizona. That was back in 2004 now.
Yeah, and that was going to lead me to my next question, which is whenever we get into things that are technical, you're like, "Whoa, we got this and this and this," and I'm like, "That's not medicine," but that's because you have an engineering degree as well and a business degree. And so, medicine. So if we ever get into herbs, natural supplements, Dr. Ceyala will be a big resource for us as well. But an engineering degree, so you're very mechanically minded, analytical. So fabulous. That's a fantastic background. I'm so grateful that there's people out there that want to go to that much schooling, because I'm not one of them that wants to go to that much schooling. So thank you, Dr. Ceyala, for being on. Fantastic. Well, tell us a little bit. So how many years have you been familiar with this type of product? Because this isn't new to you. Govi's new, 2 months old officially, but what's your background with this kind of product?
Okay, 10 years ago, I had the opportunity to realize about this new organometallic technology. I remember that I was in Mexico City when I heard about this important project about organometallic, and I said, let me see about it. Let me just double check, because I said, okay, it looks like a very nice, but I'm not sure. And as a good engineer, immediately after, I started taking a lot of the analysis back to different agencies, laboratories, universities, making sure that the product is according to the product specification. And I was really surprised about the results, because number one, I wanted to make sure that the product really, was working in a good condition. And the second question that I had is this product, the organometallic, is going to damage my vehicle, my motor, for some reason? And those were the questions that I came to the different agencies and making sure that the product was going to be safe. And the good thing is that all of the testing was conducted properly, and results were amazing. Over 10 years now using this type of technology. Different, I have the opportunity to introduce it in all the, Latin America market. I introduced it to Central America, to South America, and Mexico with really excellent results. Had the opportunity as well to use it in different heavy commercial vehicles, and that was also fantastic. Also for boats, for any kind of motorcycles, there are 2 cycles type of motors, engines with oil and gasoline. I've had a lot of opportunity to introduce this technology with gas, liquid petroleum gas. Excellent results. Natural vehicular gas for vehicles, also the propane gas. And so there was not any kind of hydrocarbon fuel that I didn't use it. So I use it in all of them. And I said, well, that's perfect. So until now that we started with a Govi, so I did exactly the same homework, in which I'm currently continue testing. And then I said, okay, this is Govi, because I know that the Gobi formula, as a matter of fact, it is not new. This formula has been in the market for over 24 years now. So it is amazing that that was the first thing that I took in consideration to work with Gobi. And I said, okay, 25 years using the original formula, that's fantastic. And now the only difference that we have with Gobi now, it's the bonding agent that we are using to get from the liquid formula to the solid tablet, which is our tablet or Gobi tablet. And I'm happy because one of the biggest issues that we have in our previous formulas project with organometallics is that they were using biphenol. So biphenol was the bonding agent in which, unfortunately, it's prohibited to use it, you know, because of the all of the health issues and concerns and some other patents and commercial rights and stuff like that. So the first thing I remember is, do we have any kind of biphenol in this formula? And I was very glad because, you know, Lance said, you know, there is no biphenol bonding agent at all. So we are biphenol free. And I said, perfect. That's the only thing that I need to start putting the strong foundation in our project, in our business. And after that, I immediately after started with all the testing and so far, so
let's jump in right there because biphenol, we are biphenol free. Biphenol is, and you can research this on your own. You can go Google it. It is a Prop 65 concern, which means it is a cancer causing additive. Shouldn't touch your skin, so you shouldn't be handling it. We do not use that product. So if there's companies out there using biphenol, they need to be really careful. Their product should only be handled with gloves and or tweezers. They shouldn't touch the product. It's actually should be on their label that it is a Prop 65 concern. So we do not use biphenol. And I just finding this out because until recently, nobody really asked about the binder. I believe the binding agent is called bithylene. Bithylene is what we use. Are you familiar with that product at all? Tell me what you know about bithylene. If you don't, that's okay. I just know it's not biphenol.
Yes, it's you know, the good thing is that it is not has any potential with a cancer issues or any other than like that. And it is I would say that this is like the 5th generation in organometallics. That's the good thing that we know with that. What does it mean 5th generation with organometallics? Let me tell you that 10 years ago, when I started you know, taking the product with the laboratories in order to dilute the product, to dissolve the product into fuel, it took over 18 up to 19 minutes to get the product dissolved in gasoline. The good thing now with our new component, with new binding agent, it takes only 11 minutes for diesel, which is fantastic, you know, just 11 minutes and we get the product 100% dissolved. In gasoline takes around like a 6.5 minutes practically. So that's the good thing with this. The product gets dissolved very fast, number one. One of the other testing that we conducted is once we are, the product is 100% diluted. So there is not any particle of substances, residuals, crystals. It's 100% safe. And I do have all of the videos, which pretty soon we will be putting in our webpage along with the report. So the good thing is that our product is free of any residuals, particles. And once I had the opportunity to work with all of the engineers in Mexico, and they said, if for some reason the product leaves a minimum amount of residual or particles, we cannot recommend this product at all. And I was really okay. They said, I was 3 weeks ago. And then once we completed the testing, I was very pleased to have the results showing that our product is 100% free of any kind of particles. We are not going to damage any kind of carburetor, injectors, or the catalytic system in the exhaust pipe. So it's going to be 100% safe. And that's going to be written in a formal report pretty soon.
So let's touch on that because you've touched on it at least twice now. So our manufacturer we purchased from has been doing this for over 20 years. They've sold over 1 billion individual tablets, 1 billion tablets that have gone into vehicles and have never damaged a vehicle. That's crazy. But then Dr. Ceyala, being an engineer, I would take them at their word. He immediately goes and says, hey, I've got a friend that can do the testing on this. And you went and got third-party testing on the Govee product specific. So this is now the product that is going into your vehicles. It's in our packages that bears the Govee label. And you've gone and tested our product specifically. Let's talk about that. What have you found with this 5th generation organometallic tablet, and how have those tests gone?
Okay, number one, the 5th generation in organometallics, it means that the product will dissolve easily. So it takes only 6.5 minutes for gasoline and 11 minutes, exactly 11 minutes for diesel. The product was tested in different temperature conditions and it works perfect, very well. It does not create any issues at all. So that's a good thing because we're tested on different, temperatures conditions, very low temperature and very high temperatures. In both, ends of temperatures, the product, it's working very constantly and very secure and not causing any, I would say, any kind of residuals or leaving any kind of residuals or something like that because of the temperature issue. But that was one of the issues that we presented before. In the past, we used to have some kind of residuals, especially with high temperatures. There is not any of that in our new, product, in Govee product. So the other thing that we have is the opacity test. Opacity test is a special test to measure the thickness of the smoke in using a special pattern, which is the ASFTM. It's a special model just to see how critical is the smoke. And it's clean. I was surprised that we got the results using diesel without Govee, diesel with Govee. We did not see any kind of presence of smoke or carbon or something like that in our testing. So those are the kind of testing that we will see pretty soon, which in the past 10 years ago, we had some presence of smoke or some presence of carbon on the pattern sheet, and which is not, right now it's perfect. It is working. One of the engineers said, I can demonstrate to you that it's going to contaminate more a person who's smoking compared to a vehicle that is using Govee.
That's pretty amazing. And so you've been working on these third-party testing on our Govee product. When will we have that additional research to be able to put on our website and start translating into other languages and start giving people the validations?
I can show you right now, we have over 8 new pages of reports already in Spanish. Right now, as I am speaking, I have right now conducting another additional testing that's been taken care on the north side of Mexico in Chihuahua. They are measuring the lubricity test. Lubricity test, that's the kind of coating that is leaving the product as more you are using or Govee product. It's protecting the metals against each other. So the friction in the metals is going to be practically zero. That's going to take, I think, I'm not sure if it's going to be like a 6 or 8 months of usage of the product. I will get that results next Monday. But our product leaves that special of catalyst coating on the metals that will avoid the friction of them, and which will contribute for more savings in fuel. So to me, I think next week we'll have the first, report, and 2 weeks from now we'll have the second report.
That's exciting. Well, thank you for doing that. I know that almost immediately, even before we were a company, Dr. Ceyala was doing the testing and starting to do the research on our product to make sure that it was safe, that it was something that you could put in your vehicles, your teams could put in your vehicles, that he could endorse. And he's been doing that religiously for the last several months, even before we were selling products. So thank you for doing that. I want to transition here. So there's been a study, there was a report that came out in June that the government just sort of quietly released more ethanol into our fuel system. So now all the gas stations are carrying fuel with more ethanol in the fuel. What does that mean for us as consumers? What does ethanol do for the vehicles? What does that do for performance, gas mileage, etc.?
Well, it helps for performance gas mileage, but unfortunately, the amount of ethanol can create some dryness on the gasket of the motor eventually. And also, a good amount of ethanol in our fuel, especially in areas that is very cold, can cause some that the ethanol can get frozen, and that could be a damage to the pump. For the fuel pump can be an issue also, and also for the injector because of the amount of concentration of water on the ethanol. Now, what's going to be that with Gobi? The good thing with Gobi is that we will help with our catalyst to really improve the combustion inside of the combustion chamber. That's going to help tremendously having our product. Now, it's just important to underline that if we are not exceeding 10% of ethanol, which is something that our government is taking care of right now, that's going to be perfect for us. So I don't think that's going to happen because for some reason they start increasing the amount of ethanol more than 10%. That can be an issue, especially for the areas that are very, very cold.
Yeah, and correct me if I'm wrong, because I'm not a scientist, I'm not an engineer, but what I've been told is that the ethanol causes your fuel to burn hot, and it causes your engine to have less lubricity, causing more breakage, more damage, etc. Now, how I understand our tablets work is it causes the fuel to burn cold, like it actually burns at a lower temperature. More fuel burns, it will increase the lubricity, it'll increase the engine life. And so actually ethanol is going to cause damage to your vehicle over time, making it more important to use the Gobi tablet because that's going to reverse or help counter effect some of the damages that essentially we're getting watered down fuel, and we need to do some things to protect our watered down fuel. Would that be a decent explanation of what's going on there?
Well, that's basically the explanation that we have. It's important to mention that using our catalyst, that's going to help because the temperature for the ignition of the fuel is going to be less compared to when you're using ethanol. Let's suppose that we have an ignition time of temperature of 1600 degrees with ethanol, and with ethanol can be up to probably 1800 or 1900 degrees. Now, it's important that by putting our product or catalyst, that will be reduced for an earlier ignition, which is going to be in the range of 900, 950, and we will increase the time for burning that fuel inside of the chamber. And that's going to be approximately in 2.5 seconds. That's going to be awesome for us because we will be able to burn the fuel properly in more time, getting a better response. But most important than that is the lubricity. Lubricity is totally a different terminology compared to lubrication. Lubricity, it's that protective, that coating that is going to be protecting the metals inside of the motor that will help us also to contribute for less, for more life performance in the motor and more mileage per gallon.
Yeah. Well, and that's, Patricia here is asking about ethanol is higher than 10% in Phoenix, but the point is the people there are going to need the product more, not less, to help counter the effects of ethanol in the engine. And essentially, chemistry is chemistry. What ethanol is doing to your engine, to your motor, the Gobi tablet with the organometallic catalyst is helping reverse or counter some of those negative effects. So yes, you need it in Phoenix more than everybody else because you've got more ethanol. That's not good for your engine. This will help counter that, change the way. The chemistry always works. Chemistry is chemistry. I've had people ask me about that, and maybe we can talk about that a little bit. Most of the time, people are seeing really cool savings through better gas mileage. But 100% of the time, you're seeing, we know the chemistry works, so that the fuel burns at a cooler temperature, or getting a longer burn, getting more of your fuel to burn, getting less emissions, getting longer engine life, getting cleaner engine. What would you say to people that are saying, I'm not seeing the fuel savings, meaning I'm not seeing gas mileage increase? Because occasionally somebody's coming back. Most people are seeing really good savings in gas mileage, but every now and then somebody comes back and says, wow, I'm just really not seeing the gas mileage increase. How would you respond to somebody that's saying they're not seeing the gas mileage increase?
Well, I have tested also in Latin America, and I have carried with the same question. For instance, I have vehicles in which they are in the range of 10% up to 20, 29%. So those are the big ranges that we have. Just recently with a new vehicles that they have, and I'm talking new vehicles with aluminum-based solid motors and with a high performance. So those vehicles are presenting an average of between on the 5 up to 10%, but that's just for the gas mileage. That's one segment. I think we need to take a look also on two others more segments that we have. The protection and the longevity on the motors, that will be something very important as well. The lubricity factor, that's going to help tremendously eventually. It's important just to keep in mind that we need to make sure that we will have at least 1,000 or 1,200 miles just to make sure to complete all of the conditioning in the motor. So that's very important. Now, let's suppose that we have savings of, let's suppose 7% or 10%. That's perfect. But we have the reduction on the exhaust system there. The emission gases will be always perfect. We will not have any issues, but we will expand considerably the life of the motor. The longevity in the motor is going to be something really, really cool.
Yeah, so the chemistry always works. So people are like, oh, I don't see it, right? Maybe they didn't calculate it right. Maybe their engine didn't, their onboard computer doesn't update as regular as some or what have you. Maybe they're not seeing the gas mileage increase. Maybe that what they saw is a decrease because of increase of ethanol or whatever it might be. But the chemistry always works, which means your engine is always running cleaner. Your fuel is always burning at a lower temperature. You're always having less emissions. You're going to have a longer engine life. The side effect of all those benefits is that in the majority of cases, you're seeing an increase in gas mileage, which is savings. But the benefits are always there. The engine burns cleaner. The engine will last longer. There'll be less emissions. All of those things are benefits of using this product. And the side effect of that is the gas mileage. That's kind of how I tend to explain it. Does that fall in line with how you'd explain that?
Yes. Now, it's just important. Some of the other testing that we have gotten already is that we increase 3 points on the octane of the gasoline. 3 points. That's a fact that I have seen in Mexico and also Colombia and also in Ecuador. That's for sure. Now it's same here in the States. Now we were talking about before about the ethanol, the 10%, the 15%. Yes, but what they do, they add more sulfur into the gasoline. Some other components that will contaminate and will affect more of the motor performance. Now that's the good thing by having our Gobi catalyst product, because that's going to protect against those other chemical agents that are putting in the gasoline to offset a little bit with the amount increase on ethanol. So, but definitely we need to add that to our product, which is our Gobi catalyst, will help us tremendously for that.
Yeah, and that's kind of what I seen happening, at least here in the US. I don't know about international markets, but the government's done some things to sort of water down our fuel. And then they're pointing to the fuel prices, which have dropped, at least here in Utah, about 50 cents a gallon. But that's because they're not selling us the same fuel. They watered down the fuel and say, hey, we're saving you money on fuel. Look at that. We're dropping the fuel prices. That's like watering down your vodka and saying, hey, I'm still selling you vodka for cheaper. And you're like, no, you're just selling me water for more. I've never drank vodka. I'm just putting out the example there. But yeah, we've seen some fuel prices. You'll see the fuel prices drop usually at the end of the summer. Then you add in that they're watering down the fuel with ethanol and sulfur and other things. But that makes it more needed, not less needed. People need this catalyst so that their engine functions better, more like it should, more efficiently, cleaner, etc. So people need our product. That's what I'm getting out of this.
Right. And also, you were saying about all of the benefits that we have with our Gobi product, but just realize how important it is just to keep our catalyst on the exhaust system clean, our Gobi product will be an asset really to help keeping that catalyst completely clean. On the other end, also the motor engine components, which is the injectors, which are very, very expensive. If we get one of those injectors damaged, so that's also a positive, factor that we need to take in consideration. Injectors, the oxygen sensors. So many of the components in the motor will be protected completely by using our Gobi catalyst. So those are other benefits that not tangible, at the first time, but on the long term, we will have that.
So we did just, I've heard word we've been approved. They've taken our check, which is usually the last step from the EPA here in the United States to go through the registration process. So when we started this 4 months ago, we started the registration process with the EPA. And what I've been told is when they take your money, the next step is certification. You show up in the back office and all that. So that should happen in the next week or so, that Govi and the Govi Boost product will be EPA registered, not approved. The EPA does not approve products, but you register products. As far as I'm aware, there is no other company out there selling their product as an EPA registered product. They're selling white label of other manufacturers, but they haven't gone through that process to get their product registered. Tell me about the significance of that. I mean, that's not an easy process. That's a big undertaking. What does that mean for our promoters out there telling the story?
Yeah, 10 years ago, we were begging to get the EPA registration. Why EPA? Yeah. EPA, the Environmental Protection Agency, and basically when you will get his registration is because they have tested the product completely. They take in consideration the formula of the product and they see the performance during, X amount of time that has been in the market. But they realize and they said that the product does what it says that it does. So it makes, we will make sure that by having that registration, we will feel free to really say what we are doing, which is getting more, gas mileage. That's going to be a benefit. The motor performance, the longevity on the motor, and also the most important, which is the pollution. So reducing the contamination, that's going to be a fact. So that's the benefit of having this registration with EPA. They will conduct an exhaust, testing in the product, making sure that the product complies with its product specification.
So just so you're aware, if you're out there, there's a lot of people talking about this, talking about that. The reason why most companies don't register their product specifically is that can cost anywhere from $100,000 to $200,000 is what I'm told. I haven't seen the final bill yet, so I'll find out more soon. But when I get that sticker shock, most companies just aren't willing to do that. We've done third-party testing in Mexico. We're looking at doing third-party testing in Colombia. We are going through and finishing up the EPA registration process. We're at the 11th hour of that. That will happen in August, if not in the next week. And we're looking at doing similar type testing in Europe. What we'd like to do is make this the biggest no-brainer, zero friction product possible. And what we don't want you doing is trying to be Dr. Ceyala explaining how these products work. What we'd like you to do is say, yes, I've used them. Yes, they work. And then be able to point to it's EPA registered. It's third-party tested. It's validated. You don't need to be the scientist. Don't try to answer all the questions. Now, once in a while, you're going to run across somebody that wants to know everything. My recommendation is you point them to the research. Don't answer all the questions. Don't give them all the science. Don't spew all the facts and get all excited because you've done all your research. If you answer all the questions, people feel like they need to be an expert to go out and sell it. You don't need to be an expert to go out and sell this. What you need to do is be able to know that it works, it's safe, and it's beneficial. And that we know. It does work. It is safe. It has been used in 1 billion cases in over 20 years, and it's safe to use on your vehicle. 3 points of octane boost, fantastic. A cleaner engine that lasts longer, that's amazing. The benefits of that are less exhaust. That's great for our environment. That's great for, the global warming, and you save money. You can put cheaper fuel in your premium car. You can get better gas mileage. Everybody needs our product. Everybody needs our product. So go share that story and you're going to crush it. Keep it really simple. Dr. Ceyala, any parting words before we wrap up here today?
No, just to let you know, Lance, I know there is a lot of concerns with all of the, EPA approval and giving the green light for the government to use more ethanol and stuff like that. So no matter what, we will take some of the gasoline with over 15% of ethanol, and we will send that to the laboratory as well. So just to make sure people will feel, better, and I will show those results. I'm just right now coordinating that since yesterday. I started working with that. So we'll take some gasoline from the US with a lot of amount of ethanol, and we will test it as well, with and without COVID, just to show the results. And you will see the amazing results that Gobi does with our gasoline with more ethanol here in the States. So just to keep everybody, more comfortable that our product, that's what it does.
Yeah. Dr. Ceyala, I just can't tell you how grateful I am, and on behalf of everybody that is in our company, how grateful we are to you to do the research, to do the follow-up, to make sure that we're safe, that we can put a product out in front of our friends and have them put it in their vehicles and know that it's safe and that it works. And I appreciate that the testing that you have done, that you do continued testing. I don't know of another company in our space that's doing any of it. And yet we do continued testing with Dr. Ceyala, with some of his partners that he's brought on through the EPA, through third-party testing, through international testing. And we will continue to do that so that you guys can confidently just go tell people, man, take it. It's safe, it works, saves you money, and you'd be foolish not to use it. So everybody out there, your friends need it. It's awesome. Go share it. Go get excited. Everybody gets excited when you get excited. Go get excited. This is an awesome product that everybody around you needs, and you just need to go tell them about it. If you'll carry this with you and start just sharing it with people, oh my gosh, almost always they're like, I want it, I need it, how do I get it? Simple. So thank you all for being on. Dr. Ceyala, special thanks to you for all the research and for your time this afternoon. And good night, everybody. Have a great day, great evening.
Thank you. Thank you.
Bye.
Thank you.